string. I'm going to cover some types of string that we have. I'm also going to cover some functions that a string can achieve in the construction field. And also, I'm going to teach you various methods of anchoring this string to masonry units in a job situation. Okay? I feel like I'm going to go to work here, so I'm going to have my hard hat on. Any trade we use this string. Iron workers use it to set steel. Carpenters use it to achieve lines to set studs. And we use it most of all to lay brick and block. And to get heights to measure the brick and block too. First, I'd like to tell you about some of the types of line that there is. Almost all line is made of nylon nowadays. There is some cotton, but I don't recommend cotton at all in our field because the weather, it absorbs the moisture and it just makes it, whenever you go to put stretch on it, it has no tension resistance. So the best type to really buy, if you guys are going to go buy some string for lab, would be one of these two. And they're both made of nylon. This one here is a twisted nylon. I'll pass it around, you can take a look at it. That has approximately 100 pounds of resistance in it before you're looking at it breaking.
Do you have to burn the end to keep it from unraveling?
Yes, I just made it like that so you can see the way that it was twisted together. And that's a twisted, it's a good line, but this line here that I'm going to show you is a braided nylon, much more stronger and durable. It'll withstand about 170 pounds of pull pressure if it's well maintained and there's no weak points in it on a brand new line. And I'll pass this around so you can take a look at it. And notice how it's like braided. You guys ever seen how a ponytail's braided? That's how that is done instead of just twisted around. It's wove in between. And one good thing about that is it really makes the durability of it, because if you're laying block and you bring your trowel across the line, it might just cut one of those and you'll still have the rest of the line, making the tension factor still pretty close to what it would be brand new.
So you recommended this one over that one?
Yes, that would be the one that I would recommend. It's maybe a line like that, the same size, twisted, might be $2 cheaper. But that's going to last you probably twice as long if you take care of it real well. Thank you. Okay, now I'd like to cover some of the functions that can be achieved with the line. And this is not only in our trade, this is in any trade. And the first function that can be achieved with the line is to find levelness. And that is done with one of these devices here. This is a line level. You guys can take a look while I demonstrate with this one, the way to use one. Imagine, if you will, that this line is stretched from one unit to another. Well, what I do is I clip the unit, or the line level on the line, and then I take a reading off the bubble. If it's perfectly between the line, that indicates that it's level. But if it goes towards one line, the bubble protrudes out, that shows that that side of the line is high, and vice versa if it's the other way. And this is used a lot in construction on short walls, because I'll get into a little bit later about the line whenever you stretch it a long way. There's another method that you have to use, and that involves a transit, but we're not going to get into the transit today. But this is for about 40 feet, it's effective. After that, there's a little bit of a difference in variation because of the sag of the line and the reading of it. Okay? Now the next function that you can do with the line is to achieve plumb. Does anybody know what plumb is? It's straight, you're right. It's straight, but it is a straight vertical line. Okay? Over here, I did some fine artwork, as you can see. Say point A is 20 feet in the air and we're standing down here. And they want us to build a wall to come up underneath at point A. And we have to find point B here to start, correct? Well, the simplest way to find it is with one of these. And this is a plumb bob. Has anybody ever seen a plumb bob before? Jeff? Okay. Okay, and the way a plumb bob is used, imagine, if you will, that somebody has climbed up here 20 feet, and they tied this string off to the point that we want to find on the ground. Well, after the plumb bob is tied on and held there for approximately probably 20 or 30 seconds, barring no wind or anybody bumping it, it will hang at a point which is almost, I would say, perfectly true plumb as you'll find. And then you mark the tip where the plumb bob is, and that will achieve you a line. I would snap a chalk line on the chalkboard, but I'm afraid it wouldn't come off, of true plumb. Does it look pretty straight to everybody? Pretty simple way of doing something too. Like to look at it? Okay, the next function that the line performs is to maintain straightness of those two functions in our business. And just for, excuse me, as in this picture here, you see a mason. He's finishing up a wall. This is in the middle of the wall, and he's finishing it up. And that line is used as his guide to maintain the plumb and the straightness of the wall. And now, if you would imagine, that line's there. How's that line hooked on to each end that we can't see on that wall? Do any of you guys have any ideas?
Okay, you have a little wooden block.
Yes, and that's what I'm going to show you guys right now. I'll pass one of those little wooden blocks that we call a line block. I'll pass it around, and you guys can take a look at it. Okay. This method of anchoring the line to the unit is probably the most truest, accurate way of doing it, because it's being anchored from true corner, outside corner, to outside corner. So you're achieving the true measurement, rather than anchoring it in here, which I'll show you later. It's a little bit difference in variation, because your corners are supposed to be true. And if you did your processes with the line, with the level and the plumbness, you got a good start. You don't want to mess it up. This is the way to do it if you can do it. Okay? And the way this is used, to anchor it, you just take the line block in this manner, insert the string into the crevice, and you wrap it once, twice, 3 times, and you hook it onto the unit in this manner right here. Oops. Okay. Jason, could you come up and hang on to that? Oops, we are right there. Jason, could you hang on to that there? Here, wait, put these on once you get your hands dirty. Mr. Powell from our advisory committee, he's got a pair of those for everybody I'm going to give out. Okay? So when he comes into class, I want you guys to smile a lot and act like you're having a good time.
I can do that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, coming down to this end, I apply the string to the crevice, like I was saying, with the desired tension that I want on the line. And I wrap it in the same manner, once, twice, 3 times. And I hook it on. You can let go of it, I hope now, Jason. I hook it onto the unit.
Could you always put it at an angle, though? He knows they're at an angle. They're
Well,
not straight.
I'll tell you, when it's at the top of the block in the corner, I put it on an angle because it holds better. But if this corner wasn't stepped back and it was like that, I would run it straight. But it's just a little bit of a, well, I guess too, it's a safety feature because it's catching on 2 sides. It's a good thing to remember. I just do it, I should have explained that, I guess. I just do it that way because I'm used to it. But that is a safety feature, and I want everybody to remember that, okay? Okay, now the next method of anchoring a line to these units, and everybody understands that I'm anchoring these to the units, and that those corners are out there. You understand where I'm at with these, right? Okay, okay. The next method of anchoring this line is with a line bar, okay? And these line bars, they're adjustable, as you can see. By taking the bolt out, you can adjust the width where it fits on the unit. These are adjusted to 6-inch block now. This will adjust down to a 4-inch block. and up to a 12-inch block, which would be double the width of one of these. And as usual in our modern day, they make them in plastic also. I've had these for like 20 years. Those I've had for like a month and haven't used them, so oops, so they're not broke yet. You can pass it around. But I would recommend buying this type right here. And the way these are fastened.
Can you still buy the metal ones though?
Oh yes, yes. They're much more than those, but I would recommend, you know, because you're going to have them for a long time. Versus those, I'm sure they're just not going to last. There's plastic items in anything in this gym. Right, it's the money. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to anchor this to these blocks. And this is a pretty good and secure way of anchoring, but it's not the truest as the line block because we're coming in on the corners a little bit, okay? Okay, and the way that's done is you take the line to the side where it's on the unit, and you start there, and you wrap it once around there, once around the top, and then once back to the unit side. And then you apply it right to the unit. I better get this back so you don't get it. You apply it right to the unit, and then you put the desired tension and come down the wall for the other one. And notice I don't have to give Jason a pair of gloves to hold this because it's staying there by itself. I can walk over here. It don't matter if it falls off or not, right? Okay, I come down here, same procedure. Take the desired tension to the point where I would like to apply it to the unit. Put it to the masonry side, wrap it once around the bottom, up over the top, and back to the unit. And then keep the stress and apply it to the unit. Now this method can be used in conjunction with the line block, you know, vice versa, just whatever situation arises at one point in time. Okay, now another method of anchoring a line to a masonry unit is with one of these. I don't know, does anybody know what one of these is? Was your dad a bricklayer? Uh-oh. Well, anyways, probably got 3 kids in here whose dads are bricklayers. Huh? There we go. All right. Okay, that is called a twig or a trig, okay? That's used only in the middle of a wall to anchor the line, okay?
I can use those also in the middle of the wall?
No, because see when I'm wrapping this around, I'm messing up the string. So this string's running through here. I got this unit right here, and well, just one second. The reason those are used is to adjust and so that the wind, say the wind's blowing my line, and I want to anchor. Say this point's 200 feet away. I might want to anchor it, to, you know, to keep the wind from blowing my line. And also, Jeff, could you come up here for a minute? Another way that a twig's used to make a another way a twig's used in the middle of a wall is this. Say, Jeff, go over there by that chalkboard. Say me and Jeff are, hold her up about chin high. Me and Jeff are 200 feet apart, okay? This will take 170 pounds of pressure, this string. Well, I can't pull 170 pounds of pressure at 200 feet and have that line perfectly straight. It's going to have somewhat of a belly in it, okay? You guys understand that? It's going to have somewhat of a belly in that line. So we just can't take off and start laying. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. We just can't take off and start laying brick to that line because after we're done and we look down the wall, there's going to be a bow in the wall. So what we got to do is we got to set a twig or a trig, and the way we're going to do that is say I put one mortar down, set the block. Okay, can't use a line level because the wall's too long. Got to shoot it with the transit. Shoot this height, set this block to that height, up or down, whichever it may be. Generally it's up because the line's sagging. We'll end up above the line. Okay, the way the twig's applied is it's just taken. Did I pass one of these around for you guys to look at? Oh, okay. The way the twig's applied is just simply taken and clipped right over the unit and then put down on top of the unit, okay? Then you take one of these items, which is always generally around in the business, a brick, put it right on top of it like that. And the brick will hold it from going in and out, okay? Okay, that's basically used just in the middle of a wall. Sometimes you'll use it on a lead out here at the corner. Say somebody had a hook in the wall out here at the corner and we want to straighten it out, we can take one of these and maybe set it out or in just a little bit on the unit, and it'll take out a little of the variance in the wall also. Okay, the last way of anchoring a line to a masonry unit is with one of these here devices right here. Has anybody ever seen these before? My wife has, because whenever I used to work in the field, those used to go through the washing machine about 3 times a week. Okay? That's called a line pin. Now, I'll show you how to anchor that, and then I want to tell you a couple things about a line pin. A line pin's used if we're coming into the middle of a wall, and I need to find this black course, say over here, I don't have no place to hook a corner because there's another block coming up here, or there's another wall running by, and I need to get this point. Line pin, very simple. You take and you make a double half hitch knot, which we got in our textbooks on page 520 that we could turn to and take a look at the 4-step procedure for a double half hitch, or I like to call this the Mason knot. And the way it's done is your fingers are just put up like this. You do one loop, pull it through, apply whatever you want to anchor it to in the middle of it, and then just pull the line tight onto the unit, and then I like to wrap it around once or twice right here. And that gives it a pretty good secure thing. Now, I apply that right into the head joint of the block. Somebody made that block with a tight head joint. So anyways, I apply that into the head joint of the block. I come down here and I put my desired tension on that I would like. And then using a, what is this? Rich?
I don't know. Can't remember.
Using a line bar, I apply it in this manner right here. Again, the 3-wrap method, and put it on to the masonry unit. Now that's attached. Now we're not going to use line pins in here because I'm going to tell you guys why, okay? This is fairly safe. The line block's fairly safe. You put 170 pounds of pull pressure on a string. Say this slips out of here. You're standing over here on this side of the wall, right across the nose. You know, a guy in Worcester was working one day. Another guy walked by the wall and bumped that pin with his shoulder because it was about shoulder height. It come out and the guy standing behind him got it right in the nose, like 17 stitches. So I'm going to tell you, the only reason I told you about them, because when you guys go out on your work programs, you're going to be out on jobs and guys are going to be using these. They might want you to use them, but I want you to know how to do it, but I want you to be leery of them when you're around them. Okay. Now, basically what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the lab and we're all going to go over these procedures. I'm going to give you guys a worksheet with the tool pictures and we're going to do some identification. I want those turned in the morning with the tool names matched up with the picture on those. And then we're going to go over to the lab and we're going to practice this because it's something that we have to know how to do before we even start the mixed mortar. Okay? So I'll see you guys all over at the lab. Thank you.